Hello friends, once again welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. Facebook is still wonky, but we'll do our best to get through. I am learning something new, and then I plan to practice it this weekend. So hopefully next week I'll start going live on YouTube and streaming to my Facebook page. But we'll see how that goes when I practice this weekend. I did a little training with somebody, so need to work on that. Always something new. Okay, today I'm combining some old product with some new product. So you'll get a sneak peek of a bundle that is coming on May 6th. And I'm going to make 2 cards today. And you'll see how these 2 cards are related. But first I want to walk you through the 3 bundles I'm using today. Lifetime of Love. And I'll be using the sentiments in this stamp set. Really nice bundle. It is sticking around. I'm happy about that because I feel I haven't used it enough. And my niece is getting married in August, so this will be wonderful for making a really pretty wedding card. And we're also using Memorable Blooms, which was one of my very favorites. We are using this hexagon die today. And also I've die cut some of these leafy stems. And then finally, the last bundle I'm using is Impressions of Bloom. And this is brand new, coming May 6th. I love it, love it, love it. Okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you, on this one, Memorable Blooms has been on the last chance list as of last week, I believe. The stamp set is still available. But when I looked today, the dies were no longer available, which I'm kind of bummed about, but we have other products that can make up for those die cut leaves and other dies, not necessarily the same shape, but other shapes that would work really well on the card I'm going to show you today. But this is coming and I can't wait. You are going to love it. When we get to adding our flowers to the cards, I am going to show you a quick tip that will help you with matching up these dies. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Okay. So on Sunday, Andrea and Emily and little Riley and I all went to a bridal shower for my niece, who's getting married August 2nd. Really wonderful. We went in together to buy her a KitchenAid mixer, which we all have one and love it. And that was something that was on her registry. And it was a really, really nice event. First time I've been to an event where they actually had a flower bar. So there were containers of all different kinds of flowers, and you could make your own bouquet to take home. So that was really fun. And everybody just loved Riley, and she had a blast, and it was so nice. But this is the card I made for us to give with our gift to Allison. So I wanted to show you that today. And, you know, the pieces I have. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is tell you, it's kind of like a card base in a card base. So my first white thick card base is the standard size 5.5 by 8.5 inches. And I scored it 4 1/4 down the middle. This one, this, Pretty in Pink. This Pretty in Pink one is just a little bit smaller. It measures 5 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches, and I've scored it 4 1/8 down the middle. All right. So a little bit smaller, and you'll see why in just a moment. But before I do anything with that, I do want to die cut my card fronts. I forgot to bring in my big cut and emboss machine. So what I'm going to do, get all these things out of the way so I don't crush them. What I'm going to do is put my card front, you know, they're pretty much the same, but whatever you determine to be the front, you're going to put on your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then you want to kind of center this hexagon on the front of it. I'm going to put a little bit of Post-it tape on there. If you want to measure and make sure it's exactly centered, go right ahead. But I tend to just eyeball it. And with what we're adding to the card front, if I were off a little bit, or I am off a little bit, people aren't going to notice that because of the way I'm decorating the front. So I'll roll this through. Oops. This is the problem when Facebook is not cooperating and working like I'm used to it working, because I have to have my camera much lower. So let's pull this off gently. And this is how it cuts. And you can use either one or both. Today we're using both parts. So I'm going to set this aside for my second card. And put that die aside. And so now this is my new card base. Has that pretty design in a hexagon shape. The next thing I want to do is fit my pretty and pink card base inside it. Have you ever done this? My friend Tracy showed me this tip. If you get kind of a, I don't want to say rough edge, but you get some of those fibers showing, just go over it once or twice with your, just a regular nail file, okay? A fine nail file or a fine sandpaper, but real fine. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to be adhering this card base to the inside, okay? However, before I adhere it, I just want to line it up and not add any adhesive. I've got it even on the left and right sides, and I'm taking it basically up to the fold, but not on the fold or past the fold. Now, let me hold it up and you can see that a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to grab some ink. I'm using, and I just got black ink on my fingers. Let me wipe that off. Okay. I'm going to use black Memento ink. Use whatever you think is best for the colors you're using in your card. And I'm going to ink up this sentiment, wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness. And this is great for a wedding or a bridal shower. I might even use this for a new baby, actually. And I'm just going to stamp it in the center there, holding down that white card front. So I'm sure not to get any ink on it from the clear block. And I think that looks good. So I'm going to now adhere this to the inside. Now, if I goofed, I could easily just flip this over because this would be the part I'm adhering and I've got a second try, right? Okay. Fortunately, I didn't have to do that today. Now, when you're putting your adhesive on the white, remember there's a very tiny border that will be showing around the pink. And you could even skip the step of adhering the top to this, okay? But I decided I wanted it to stick together. Okay. Notice that this is just slightly off center. I did that intentionally, but if you put your sentiment off center or right in the center, that may be determined by how you're decorating around it. Okay, and when you see me decorate my card, you'll know. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp Forever and Always, wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness, forever and always. And I'm going to put this coordinating sentiment on the inside of the card, trying to get it straight. Anybody have any bridal showers or weddings or anything like that coming up this year? They're always a fun time. Now, as I told you, I went ahead and cut these out from the Memorable Blooms die set. So I used this from the die set and this from the die set. Unfortunately, it was on the last chance list and it just sold out. The stamp set is still available, but what I'm going to tell you is you can pick a different shape. You can make the same card with a different shape, and you can make the same card swapping out these leafy branches for something else, okay? The sentiments are from the Lifetime of Love bundle, and this bundle is sticking around. I'm happy about that. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere. I'm going to do it like this, open it up a little bit. I'm going to adhere my leafy branches with a little bit, a very little bit of multi-purpose glue. I'm just kind of dotting it. You don't need it everywhere. In fact, I like it better if it's not everywhere, because number one, I have a place to hold on to without getting sticky. And the other thing, some of those leaves then lift off of the card front, giving it more dimension. So I'm taking this one pretty close to the bottom of the card, and I'm kind of going around part of that hexagon. I'm going to do the same thing with this, but I'm going to go higher on the hexagon with it. It's also neat that it cuts out that little vine in the leaves for a little more detail, etc. A little more interest or dimension. Okay. Now with this third one, I'm only going to use part of it. I'm going to use my paper snips and cut off right here. Now, I will hang on to these until I'm finished with my project, because I might want to add a few more leaves around some of the flowers. Maybe, maybe not. But if I do something like this, I always hang on to it until the end of the project. Okay, this camera is moving all about on me. Okay, so again, I'm going to just use some dots of multi-purpose glue. I've got a place to hold it here. And I'm going to go right there. And it's really okay that it's covering up a little bit of the sentiment. Everybody can still read that. Now, I have die cut some flowers and prepared them, and I've got white on white, and then I've got these tiny little pretty in pink flowers that are really going to act as embellishments. But what I want to tell you here is when you get the set, again, it's not available until May 6th, so you're getting a preview here. Oh, and I can't even get this out. I guess come on. I need to cut my magnet sheet down a wee bit. Come on. And I love these ovals. This oval would be great to use here. You could use a punch. You can use a die of another shape. We have all kinds of things that you can use in place of that hexagon die from the Memorable Blooms stamp set. But what I want to show you is these just cut out single pieces, okay? Some of the shapes, these large flowers, the flower centers, and the leaves here, you can do one of two ways. You could stamp, because we have coordinating stamps, you could stamp and die cut that inside part of the flower. You could stamp it by its, or just die cut it like that. But what you can also do is add this center, okay? And cut it with one and the other, so you're cutting them at the same time, and that's what gives you that dimension. Same thing with the flower centers. You could die cut a plain flower center, or you can add that textured piece in the middle, and that gives some texture. So I kind of think of it as we're able to double up, double the pleasure, right? Double the joy, because if we can use it more than one way, we have more uses for it. And it's always fun to mix and match. Now, the tip I'm going to give you is when you pull these flowers out of the pack that they come in, I would go ahead and mark them, pull them out, two of them together and lay them down. And then what I would do is just pick one area and color it either with a Stampin' blend, because that becomes permanent, a Sharpie, something like that. And I don't want to color on the side of the die that is going to be touching the cardstock, just in case some color would rub off. But this way, it makes it really easy to match up these. The other thing I did when I was using this is I used a little bit of my wonderful Post-it tape. Oops. See, it fell out, but it's easy for me to match it because I marked it. I marked both parts. And if you want to hold them together, especially if you're die cutting several flowers, just use a piece of washi tape or Post-it tape, something like that, and it will hold those two together, and it makes it much easier and quicker when you're die cutting because you've got it set already. Okay, so those are my tips for using the Impressions of Bloom dies when they become available. So let's go ahead and finish off our card with these flowers I've die cut. I didn't think you would want to sit and wait on me cutting all these die cutting all these various flowers. You're more interested in seeing a second card, right? I do try to respect your time. Okay, now I'm going to add some of these pretty and pink flowers, and remember that we typically work in odd numbers. I'm going to have a total of 5 of these pretty and pink flowers on there, and they're going to act as embellishments almost. 2 on this side, 3 on that side. I didn't want to overdo, but I did want to spread them out a little bit. So I'm just literally putting a dot of glue, trying to decide where I want that. Go here, and then here. And then to make it really easy, and now mine are all flipped, so the top side is up. If not, you would just want to flip them over because you do get a different look, okay? But I use the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool, set it down on that dot of glue, and press it in place with a finger on the opposite hand. Easy peasy. This tool, oh, I can't live without it. If it goes missing, I'm going to have to order another one. And I also have one that stays in my supplies that I take when I'm crafting other places. My travel supplies, I'll call them. Okay, so there's the first card. Now, if you wanted to add more embellishments, perhaps the iridescent pearls, something like that, you certainly could. Maybe a nice fine sheer ribbon. But I think it looks great just as is. So I'm not going to fuss with any embellishments, okay? So like I said, this was the card I made for Allison's bridal shower on Sunday. And it also would make a wonderful wedding card. And you could switch out, if you know the colors, perhaps that the bridal party is wearing, or the kind of flowers they're going to have, something like that, or the bride's favorite color. I have no idea what their wedding flowers will be like. And the girls' dresses are like a champagne color, but pink is Allison's favorite color. So perfect for that. And don't leave, because I'm going to give you something to comment so you can have your name put into the drawing to receive that card, or perhaps this next one that we're going to make. So remember, this was the piece that was die cut from our card base, and I said we were going to use that. Why not use it right away, right, to make a second card? So I've already gone ahead and embossed this piece of pretty and pink cardstock. I'm again using thick white cardstock for my base, 5.5 by 8.5 inches. And this piece measures 5.25 by 4 inches. And I've embossed it with the Distressed Tile 3D embossing folder. This Distressed Tile embossing folder is on the last chance list. I think it might be marked down a little bit. Definitely check out the last chance list. You may see some of your things on your wish list are going away, or perhaps you see something that you've been eyeing and maybe it's being offered at a discount price. But know that anything on the last chance list, and it's easy to find. You click menu, shop products, and look for last chance list. But anything that's on that last chance list, we're no longer doing a retired list. Stampin' Up! Is doing a last chance list. So things go on that last chance list, and they pretty much stay there until the inventory of each of those products is depleted. And once that inventory of, say, the Distressed Tile embossing folder is depleted, then it goes to the discontinued list. Okay, that's how that works. So anything that's on the last chance list, consider available while supplies last only. Okay, so I don't know, these things could stay around an hour, 10 days, 100 days, we don't know. It just depends on the product and what people are buying, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to use the same sentiments as I did for my first card, but of course I want to quickly clean them off with my chamois. Okay. And this time I'm going to stamp with Pretty in Pink instead of the black. Okay, so I just want to make sure that is straight. It's easier to stamp your sentiment straight Oh, I got that a little high, but it's going to have to do. It's easier to stamp your sentiment straight if the piece you're stamping on is straight. All right. And then I'm also going to go ahead and stamp the inside sentiment. And I just want this right about in the middle. Okay, awesome. Close this up. And next I'm going to adhere my sentiment to the card front. And then the rest of the card pretty much goes together just like the first card. So you can see it's only taking me a little bit of time to make the second card using that die cut that I was not using on the first card. So keep that in mind. If you're ever die cutting like a shape and something becomes a window, I'll call it a window, an opening, you can easily put together a second card using the die cut piece. Okay, so you're using both the negative and the positive pieces. You know I love a no waste project. And I'm going to start off doing the same thing, taking the first leafy branch towards the bottom. And if you're using different foliage or leaf dies or punches, where you place them is dependent on their size. Again, just a few dots of this glue. And I'm going to go up a little bit higher with this one. And again, for this third one, I just want it here on my card front. So I'm going to cut off that bottom part. When you've got something real detailed like this and you're adding your glue, always, before you add your glue, think, where are you going to hold on to? Because otherwise we end up with sticky fingers and it just is frustrating and makes a mess. So there's my PSA for the day. Try to avoid sticky fingers by knowing where you're going to hold on to your pieces. And once again, I'll add my 3 white flowers. Oh my goodness, my hands are super shaky this week and it is not fun. But hey, I just keep on plugging along. I just keep on keeping on. Can't let that stop me from doing what I love. I just wish I could figure out what makes it better or worse, but maybe there's just no answer to that. Okay, and again, does anybody else have that problem with shaky hands? I also heard it can be hereditary, but I don't recall my mom having it. My grandma, yes, but I don't recall my mom having an issue. And right here. So once again, I'm going to use the putty end of my take your pick tool. You just need a teeny tiny bit showing. And I'm going to pick these up and then use a finger on my opposite hand to press them into place. Now, I can even think of this being a beautiful, a beautiful thinking of you or sympathy card, birthday, you know, even a baby girl, new baby girl, and change out the sentiment for whatever works with your occasion or your reason for sending the card. Remember, any card can be cased. You don't have to, you never have to make something exactly like I do or exactly like somebody else has made it. Put your own twist on it. If the colors aren't right for what you want, change them out. If the sentiment's not right for what you want, change it out. If you don't have the same embossing folder or the same dies, you can switch it out for something else. Sometimes I think when people are looking for ideas, they get stuck on, I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. But you have lots of other things, right? So yeah, just, you know, it might take a few minutes to kind of think out a little bit farther. Pat, that's an idea. You could use the little pink flowers as centers for the larger flowers. You can mix and match till your heart's content, okay? But they look like very fussy cards, right? I would call them wow cards, but they were not hard to make at all, okay? Not hard to make at all. It is unusual for me to mix and match stamps and bundles so much, but I did that specifically so you got an example of a bundle we currently have that will be sticking around longer, an outgoing bundle, and then you got a peek of a brand new bundle that is coming in May 6th. Okay, I do want to mention something. I should give you something to type. How about love and happiness? Love and happiness. If you would like your name put into the drawing to receive one of these cards, type in the comments now, love and happiness. I do want to mention the new annual catalog that starts May 6th. I have a little bit different of a policy for catalogs. Just like everything else, catalogs are expensive. Shipping went up tremendously. So what I've done is anybody who has placed an order, Stampin' Up! Order with me since, how far back did I go? I think I went back as far as the last annual catalog release, which would have been last May. If you placed a $50 or any size order, really, in that time frame between then, May of 2024, and the end of March, then you automatically are on my list to receive a catalog. Okay, that's already in the works. If that is not you, there are two things you can do. You can either place that $50 order or an order, and I will send you I typically say 50, but I'm kind of flexible on that. But place a Stampin' Up! Order with me. Okay, that's products, not classes. And then I will send you a catalog, a complimentary catalog. Or if you don't want to place an order with me or you have your own demonstrator, that is fine. You'll likely get one from your demonstrator. I do not send them out to team members or demonstrators at all because Stampin' Up! Gives each one of us a complimentary catalog. And if you just don't want to place an order right now to get a catalog, you can wait till May 6th and purchase one from online. And I think it's, $4, $5, something like that, plus tax and shipping. Or on May 6th, I'll have the PDF of the entire annual catalog, and you can download that if you wish, okay? If you have any questions about that, you can let me know. And Did everybody type in love and happiness? Okay, that's today's phrase if you want your name put into the drawing to receive one of these cards. I am planning to do a Facebook Live tomorrow, Thursday, April 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. So I hope to see you again at that time. And now I'll get to work on what I'm creating for you tomorrow. Have a good evening, everybody, and happy stamping until we meet again.